Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be asking, is it normal to be forgetful in the menopause? And the answer is, oh, definitely yes. Now if you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure that you're notified of my new videos every week. So yes, being forgetful in the menopause is one of those really common symptoms, and most women will experience it to some degree at some point in the menopause. And the one thing to make really clear here is that this is a real physical reaction to what is going on in your body. You are not going mad, you are not going nuts. There is a real reasonable explanation for this, and I know a lot of women really worry about it, so do take heart. On the whole, this is just one of the many phases that you will go through as you travel through the menopause. The problem with this one is it's not necessarily just one single thing that's happening that's making you forgetful. And it can be different combinations for different women. So this is one of these situations where it's quite a good idea to sit down and list what's going on in your life, and you might find there's a set of clues that are, for you, contributing to this phase of forgetfulness. We do know that estrogen is a big factor. I have read about this, it's quite complex, but there's a combination of chemicals and neurotransmitters in the brain that can all be affected by falling estrogen, and that will have a direct impact on the way that our brain works. But there are other things going on as well. Now, when I'm talking about forgetfulness, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, so you know I'm still in that phase in a way, that it can be really simple things. You can forget names, which I still do today. It can be you can forget where things are. You can put things away and then just can't remember where they are. And I am just dreading when I move home, because I'm probably going to find lots of things hidden away in very, very strange places. You can forget at times, you can forget appointments, you can forget just even what day of the week it is. You can wake up in the morning and you suddenly can't remember where you are, or whether it's a work day or a weekend day. So when I'm talking about being forgetful, it's about these sorts of daily tasks that we tend to forget, or we can't put a place on. So the other contributory factors here, it can just be our age. As we get older, then obviously our brain function can slow down that little bit, although really it shouldn't do. A lot of it can be due to sleep and fatigue. If we are getting flushes and sweats during the night, if we are not sleeping well, if we are really tired, then how on earth can our brain function well too? It's just not particularly possible. It can be stress and low mood. These things will interfere with our brain function and our rationale and our thinking processes. It can be medication. So if you're on medication and you found that your thinking or your forgetfulness has got worse since you've started the medication, then just check the side effect list on the patient information leaflet to make sure that that isn't a particular reason. It can be nutritional deficiencies. Our brain really needs well fed, and if we go through the menopause, that's already putting a huge drain on our nutritional balance. So make sure here that you're eating really, really well at this particular point. It can also be low thyroid function, and we know that a lot of women get affected by borderline thyroid issues during the menopause. It's all part and parcel of the way the whole endocrine system works, and that can be a factor certainly for sort of foggy thinking and forgetfulness as well. So how do you sort this one out? You can look at balancing estrogen. This is obviously a really sensible one to do. So if it's appropriate, you could try our menopause support. This is known to gently raise and balance estrogen levels. It also contains magnesium, which is great for the mind as well. So just remember that one. Your B vitamins, they are really important for brain function. And the problem is that if our diet's not very good, then the B-vits, we end up lacking in B vitamins. B vitamins are also really eaten up by stress and anxiety, and a lot of us going through the menopause are going to be really stressed, so we're going to be deficient in the very nutrients that are going to help us to think better during the menopause. We can look at fish oils, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, you can go for flaxseed oil. This is omega-3. It's an essential fatty acid, and it is essential for brain function. So having a supplement of this is great. The great thing about omega-3 too is not only does it help brain function, but it's great for your joints and it's great for the skin. So you're getting a range of super benefits with this particular supplement as well. Stop multitasking. This is the one time in our lives when multitasking should be banned. You know, our brains are on fire the whole time. We're really busy. Women going through the menopause, if you're working, if you've got family, then it's really difficult to actually focus and concentrate. And I always think it's a bit like an overloaded computer. If you keep shoving information into your computer without putting it in the proper place, eventually it's going to crash. And it's just the same with our brains. We need to give ourselves quite a lot of leeway in the menopause. So it's a really important thing here to get rest and relaxation, just to give our brains a little bit of a rest here. Do the diary. I find post-it notes are absolutely invaluable. The only thing with diaries and post-it notes is you have to be really specific. I find even now I'll open my work diary and there'll be one word in it, and after a couple of weeks I won't have a clue. I don't know what it means. So if you're leaving notes to remind yourself about things, then just make a few details so that when the time comes for you to review it, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing or what you're supposed to be looking at. Have a little bit of a routine in that. Keep your car keys in the same place, keep your glasses in the same place. I know routines can get a bit boring, but I find that if I come in a rush and put my car keys down somewhere instead of in the usual place, you can guarantee that the next morning I'm spending 5 minutes running around the house looking for them. So these little tips of routine can often save you an awful lot of time and anxiety when you're coming to look for the particular object. Exercise is absolutely great, both physical exercise, so getting out, doing a walk, doing a bit of yoga. All these things can help with circulation, which will help with brain function, but also do things that are going to exercise your brain itself. And you know, sitting down in front of the telly every night can be mind numbing. Your brain basically just goes into a half state of sleep. So do reading, do crossword puzzles, do simple little things, or even jigsaw puzzles. You know, do things on a daily basis that are going to tax your brain in some way. One or two of the best things apparently for the menopause and old age, or aging gracefully, is to learn to dance and to learn a new language. These things will really keep your brain on fire. Another tip, breathe properly. You know, how often do we get to the point in the day, I find it myself, I'm sitting at a desk a lot of the time, you just don't breathe properly, and how can your brain function if it's not getting oxygenated? So learning slow, deep breathing every hour or so can make a huge difference to how our brain operates. And last but least, guess what that is? It's the water. Dehydration will shrink your brain, and that will make it more difficult to cope with as well. So loads of plain water on a daily basis. If you find that you're getting forgetful just at specific times of the day, then very often could be your dehydration, or it could also be low blood sugars as well, because remember I said before that your brain needs lots of nutrients to keep it going. So if your blood sugars get too low, that's going to affect your thinking ability as well. Now, you can look at herbs such as Ginkgo Biloba. The old name for this herb is called the memory tree, because it's been used for hundreds of years to help with memory. You can look at sage. Some people find when they take the herb sage that it helps with thinking. And the traditional use of sage hundreds and hundreds of years ago, it was used by monks to help them concentrating when they were doing a lot of writing in candlelight or in the near dark. So sage seems to be able to help temporarily at giving your brain that little bit of a boost. We also have one of the lovely flower essences called concentration essence, which can help you to focus. It's a lovely little bottle. You can have it in your bag or your pocket and take it to work if you feel that your concentration is slipping a little bit there as well. When do you need to go to the doctor about forgetfulness? If it's worrying you in any way, shape or form, then go. Even if it's just to get confirmation of the things I've been telling you, we want you to have peace of mind, so it's really important here. The other things would be, they're the really more serious things, so it would be things like forgetting day-to-day words, if your hygiene routine goes out the window, if you can't do simple things, if you find that you're getting lost and you can't use things that you could use before. The problem is very often when you get to this stage, you're not aware that these things are unusual. So this is a difficult situation. So all I could say here is anything that's worrying you unduly, that's causing you sleepless nights, that's giving you anxiety, then just double check with your doctor. So I hope this was an interesting one. The other thing I get asked about this is, will my brain go back to normal afterwards? Yes, for most women, this is just one of those phases that as you go through the menopause. My short-term memory wasn't particularly great before the menopause, so I'm probably still in exactly the same situation. But I use a lot of the techniques that I've explained today. Long-term memory is great. I love learning new things. Anything of real interest will stay in my brain. Just for me, it tends to be some of the day-to-day, daily boring stuff. But there we go. So hopefully I will see you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.